the thing is, at first, when it all happened in human resources, the one thing that people don't understand is the fact that until the Deadspin article, no one had ever said anything about sexual harassment. It's literally never even been brought up to me. It was never brought up to me in human resources. It was never brought up to me by anyone. No one ever even said the word sexual harassment. And so, that wasn't why I resigned. This is what's made everything so hard and just so difficult, because at first I was at peace because I knew why I was resigning, and I needed to resign, and whether I ultimately would have been fired, it is irrelevant. I mean, I'm sure I would have ultimately I would have fired me, after everything that has happened. But I was at peace with it because I knew that I knew it had to end, and I just wanted to walk away and just wipe the slate clean on everything. And then when the Deadspin article came out, and there's this huge allegation of sexual harassment, and there's a laundry list of allegations, and I was literally devastated because some of those allegations, that was why I was in human resources. When I resigned, when I was in human resources, okay, they had asked me about the underage drinking situation. They asked me about the being drunk at practice allegation. They asked me about the drunk driving allegation. They asked me about the relationship situation, both the previous relationship from 10 years ago, and they asked me about the allegation now. We went through all of that stuff, okay? And I explained myself in all of these things. And, some of the things, none of this stuff should have happened because I never should have put myself in this position. I never should have. I should have known better years ago to ever even be in a position like this or put people in a position like this. You know what I mean? And so that's why I knew that I needed to resign anyway. I'm the one to blame for all of this happening, because if I had never crossed any lines, whether it's regarding drinking or whether it's regarding relationships or whatever it is, I never should, or just even the gap between coach and athlete, and there should be this huge space there. And sometimes I've allowed that space to become blurred, and not just in with the texting and that kind of stuff, but I mean just in general, like even with maybe the guys, that allowing them to say certain things around me or have conversations with them that were maybe I shouldn't be having with one of my athletes. You know what I'm saying? I should have a lot more professional. I should be a lot more professional with them. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't even been in this position if it wasn't for myself and my own idiocy. You know what I'm saying? But when I went through the interview with Human Resources, and we went through all the different allegations, and I explained what was going on in each of these things, and and still to this point, there's absolutely no mention of the texting conversations. There's absolutely no mention of any kind of sexual harassment or anything along these lines. No one's ever said that to me. And so I finished up the conversation about being in a recent relationship with an athlete, and I went through and explained that no, it's not happening. Okay, it's not happening. It didn't happen. I've never even, maybe on one or two occasions ever, even had a phone conversation with that athlete, with that girl. I've never been in the same place at the same time with her. No one could ever see that they ever saw us. I mean, the rumor didn't even, it's one of those things, because I had been in a relationship with somebody before years ago. It's one of those things where there's smoke, there's fire. You know what I mean? And I've had assistant coaches that have dated athletes. I have a former assistant coach that that's married to one of our former athletes from back in the day, and so you people pick up on it, that kind of stuff. This rumor, no one had ever even heard this rumor. You know what I'm saying? So there wasn't even any smoke to think that there was a fire on this situation. Okay, and so I'd already gone through those other allegations. I went through that. Everything. I thought that everything was fine. To be honest, I literally at that point thought that aside from having admitted to the fact that I was in a relationship 10 years ago, which obviously was wrong, that the university didn't have a policy against that, oddly enough, until 2007, and but I admitted to the fact that like I have drank around the team and these kinds of things. You know what I mean? So at this point, I'm thinking like, all right, maybe I'm not going to get fired, but obviously I've screwed up here, and I've admitted to that I've screwed up. And then he pulled out this stack of texts, and he put the first one in front of me, and it was me, F this and F that, and just the conversation was clearly not a conversation that I should have been having. You know what I mean? And I looked at I literally looked at that first page, and he said, "Is that you?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, that's me." I said what I said was, this isn't a full conversation because this doesn't flow like a conversation that I would have. So my guess is that there's texts that are missing from this to make it look worse than it is. But whether it looks worse than it really is, it's me saying this stuff, and I shouldn't be having this conversation.